Okay, so we're going to demonstrate the micro peel, which is the combination of our salicylic peel along with the microdermabrasion. So the first step is to pre-cleanse. So we're going to take just about a pea size of the Cleanse Daily with a little bit of water. And we're going to just cleanse the skin really well. The goal is that since we start out with the salicylic peel, we want to make sure that we removed all the dirt, debris, and any oil on the skin. And then to make sure the skin is completely dried before we start. We're going to go ahead and rinse this off with a few 4x4s and cool water. And keep in mind that prior to providing the micro peel protocol, you want to make sure you do a patch test so that the client is ensured a good experience with the salicylic acid peel. And the reason why we only use the salicylic peel with this protocol is that it makes for a perfect canvas for the microdermabrasion. The alpha hydroxy acid peels, which is the lactic acid and the glycolic, actually make the skin a little spongy, and it's just not a good fit. So we want to use the salicylic acid peel only. So once we thoroughly remove the cleanser from the skin, we want to dry the skin completely dry before we administer the peel. We're going to take just a little bit of that peel solution and we're going to do the patch test just on the side of the nose here where the skin is the most sensitive. And what we're looking for within the next minute or so to make sure that she can tolerate the salicylic peel. So we're looking for any lines of demarcation, any red raised rash-like effects, any itching, and so far so good. So we're going to let this sit on the skin for about 1 minute. And at the conclusion of 1 minute, we're going to go ahead and take this off. So she looks like she's good to go. So for the sake of the demonstration, we're going to remove that little patch of the peel. It's not uncommon that you see some light lifting or signs of actually frosting. Very normal with the salicylic peel. We want to go ahead and make sure that that area is dry again before we move forward. You want to be sure to not reapply the peel solution in that same area. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and apply the peel solution. We're going to set our timer for 3 minutes. And we're going to press start the minute we start applying the peel solution. So we're going to start by applying it to the forehead and working counterclockwise around the skin. Painting on just one layer. Now you'll notice that it's not uncommon for her skin to show signs of a little frosting. And on a scale of 1 to 10, your client may experience up to about a 7. You can see where there's some line of demarcation with the patch test here, so you want to make sure you don't reapply in that area. On a scale of 1 to 10, show me how you're feeling.
About a 7.
Okay, so it's about normal. And you'll see some slight frosting, which again is normal. So we get this on very swiftly. I chase the fan with the product just to ensure that the client is the most comfortable. And the goal is to get this on very quickly. And then we'll start fanning for the remainder of the 3 minutes. Okay, so the 3 minutes is up. We're going to go ahead and remove this quickly with just 4x4s and some cool water. Try not to use sponges or towels. The skin's pretty sensitive at this point. And once I do once around with the 4x4, I'll take your vitamin spray and I'll really irrigate the skin down just to make sure that that peel solution is neutralized all over. It'll help to cool the skin down. It'll also help you with the removal of the peel solution. So we'll go around one more time just to make sure she's thoroughly removed. So once we remove the peel solution, we just want to make sure we fan the skin completely dry and that the skin is free of a lot of erythema or redness before we move on to the second step of the micro peel protocol, which is the microdermabrasion. Okay, so she's nice and dry. On the micro peel, you have your variables on the tips for the microdermabrasion from a mild, moderate, or coarse. So depending on the client's skin type, you would choose the appropriate tip. And you want to choose a moderate vacuum as well. And we're going to do 2 passes around the face. So again, your technique for the microdermabrasion can be yours. I'll just show you mine. And this is the second step to the micro peel. The goal is to keep the skin very taut in between strokes of the microdermabrasion, overlapping about 1/8 of an inch. And I used a very light tip with a very light vacuum on her today just to demonstrate the process. But according to the skin type and skin conditions you're working on, you can modify that accordingly. Always working upwards. Again, it's not uncommon to see a little signs of some redness, very normal. And then we're going to feather around the eye area and then down the nose. And we'll start on the other side. And then start working up the other side, keeping the skin very taut. Now the micro peel session is a 30-minute standalone session only. Keep in mind you only use the salicylic acid, no other peels are approved in the protocol. And the frequency of these peels really depend on the client's skin type and skin conditions that you're working on, but ideally once every 2 to 3 weeks in a series is perfect. The results are also very cumulative, so we do recommend that the micro peels are also sold in a series. Okay, and then down the nose. One more time on the upper lip. I'm going to have you lift your chin up for me and we're going to work the neck. So we're going to do long strokes, holding the skin very taut without a lot of pressure. Okay, and then that's one pass. We're going to go ahead and do one more pass since your skin looks like she can tolerate it. Most clients can tolerate 2 full passes of the microderm. If you find that the skin's getting a little too red or too pink, just turn down the vacuum a little bit. And we're on about a medium vacuum right here. So really quickly, one time more around the face. Feathering lightly around the eye area, keeping that skin really taut. And then down the neck, or down the nose. Other side. Overlapping your strokes about 1/8 of an inch, just to ensure you get full coverage of the microdermabrasion. And feathering lightly around the eye area and down the nose. Okay, so after the microdermabrasion, we're going to go ahead and just rinse down the skin very quickly with just tepid water and 4x4s. And you can see a little bit of redness, which is perfectly normal. The next step is to apply the Rise and Shine Collagen Mask. And the reason why this is such a great fit for the micropeel protocol is that this mask has a very good cooling and sedative effect on the skin. So it'll help to mitigate any of that redness. We're just going to paint on a nice thin layer of the Rise and Shine mask. Okay, so we're just going to finish up, making sure we've got a really nice even application of the Rise and Shine mask. At this point, you can choose to put on your Infuse It pop-up mask over it. This will stay on the skin for approximately 10 minutes. Okay, so after 10 minutes of the Rise and Shine being on the face, we're going to go ahead and begin thorough removal of this mask. Again, just with your 4x4s and nice cool water. The skin can be a little irritated at this point, so just gentle wipes, no sponges or towels at this point, and thoroughly remove the mask. Okay, so we're just going to finish up here and remove all traces of that Rise and Shine mask. So once we remove the mask, we're going to do a 3-step finish, which is your hydrate, lubricate, and protect. So I'm going to be using the Daily Dose of Water, just a very small pea size for the entire face and neck. And I like to just layer this on the skin evenly all over. Then we're going to take the Calm Me in the Morning moisturizer. And apply a nice liberal layer of this everywhere. Your other choices at this step would be the Feel Better moisturizer or the Nourish Your Skin squalene oil. Again, just making sure that we apply this evenly all over. And then the finishing step is to apply the SPF sunblock. Again, the secret to the application of the sunblock is small amounts, pea size, warming up in the palm of your hands, and pressing it into the skin. Okay, and that concludes the micropeel protocol.